Hey guys, welcome back to Making Room for More. On today's episode, I'm going to talk to you all about the Elvie pump. It's something that I've gotten questions about, probably the most questions about throughout the whole journey. And so I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts and my experience. I'm going to review it, I'm going to show you how it works. I'll talk about the pros and cons and let you know what I think. Okay, so the Elvie. If you know anything about me, I've shared it before. Breastfeeding was not really my thing, but I did end up doing it with Noah. It was an interesting experience. I'm not going to go on and on about breastfeeding specifically right now. I'm going to focus on the pump. If you guys want to know more, please drop your comments below and your questions about that because I can certainly share my breastfeeding experience with you. Very different than what I had anticipated. So, nonetheless, actually, Larry really pushed me. He's like, you need to get the Elvie. Essentially, I would go into the room and hook myself up to the pump and have to sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there and pump and pump and pump. And I really couldn't do anything else besides sit there and pump. And with me, I had a lot of milk, and so that just wasn't practical. So he's like, you need to get the Elvie. You need to get the Elvie. I finally broke down and got it. I ended up getting it off of Amazon. I think it was around like $550 or something, which is why originally I was like, I'm not going to be nursing that long. I don't really want to pay all of that money. I'm not going to get it. Well, yes, your girl got the pump. So, the Elvie. Here's my thoughts. For one, and I'll kind of show it to you as I talk as well. But the fact that I didn't have to like sit constrained to, electrical outlet, holding pumps, waiting for it to be over, and I can get up and move, like literally walk around the house with the pumps on. There were times that I went outside with the pumps on. We would take like short car trips, not very long at all, but like if we were in the car, I could go and pump in the car without any wires and electrical outlets needed and things like that. It comes with a charger so you can charge it, and it lasts for I think about 2.5 hours. So that was something that was like a game changer. Being used to pumping and then be able to be mobile was something that was really, really helpful. And along with that, being hands free was really helpful. So I didn't have to sit and hold anything or try to adjust anything in a nursing brawl. I could just, pop them in and be on my way. That was a benefit of the Elvie. That was the whole list of pros. On the flip side of that, for some women, that could be a benefit because you kind of get a moment to like decompress, breathe a little bit, and everything. For me, it just was not practical because I have 3 children and a husband, and people just had different needs and things like that. And so for me to just continue to tuck myself away, I think people were starting to get irritated with that. Kids needed me, and I'd be like, no, I'm pumping. It was just a lot. So, those are the pros. The cons. So I did not love the fact that, like, even though I was mobile, I had to, like, bend down a certain way or even, like, leaning over to pick up Noah and things like that. I really couldn't do that when I was pumping with the Elvie because if you bent a certain way or moved a certain way, the milk would spill out. And so, just, I mean, like, I'd be walking around and it wouldn't take a lot of movement, but like the milk would spill right out and I would have like this big milk spot on my shirt. And so while it was mobile, it was nice, but I was still a little bit constricted because I didn't want the milk to spill out. So I found myself like doing these kind of like robotic moves and like squatting instead of bending and things like that just so that I wouldn't spill milk all over myself. Um, the other thing that I didn't love about it was compared to the other pump that I had, there were just more pieces. And so, as much as, it was nice to get up and move around, like, I was constantly having to clean, like, several pieces. So, like, I'll kind of show you here. This is a little bit one of the stations that I had set up in my room um, because I just needed to streamline things as much as possible. So, this is a bin from the hospital. Anyway, I've got some of the pieces in here. So, there's, like, this bottom part. This is what like catches the milk, and then you put this on top of it. And then this kind of like little suction accessory. So you would put this together. So this is what would, the milk would go into. And then you had these, I think they're called flanges or brush shields, I think. And so you would put this on here to get ready, because that essentially is where like your breast and your nipple would go into there. So this was the motor piece of it. And so this would go right into here. And then this would go into here. So not too intense, but it was more than, what I was used to before. So I'm gonna assemble this actually. I'm gonna assemble both of them and I'm gonna put them on so you can see exactly what it was like. So I will show you what it was like. So you could be anywhere. Pop this in. I will say that it made me look like I had a really, really, really big chest on top of it already being kind of bigger from nursing. It was looked big. So you popped it in. I would wear a nursing bra. Towards the end, I discovered that I could actually still use it in just a regular sports bra. And then I could easily put a shirt on, and nobody even necessarily knew that I was pumping milk. I don't know if I completely messed up my hair or not, but I could put a shirt on and it just looks like I have a really large chest, but I actually have the pumps in here. So that was on the pro list in terms of being able to be mobile and everything like that. A con, the first thing that I would say is just like the assembly was very different. So it just took a little bit more to keep up with all the parts and put it together and things like that. So, which it wasn't horrible. It was just more than what I was used to. Another thing that I did not necessarily love was because, as you can tell, like traditionally with a pump, if you're sitting there holding it or, you have it in front of you, you can see all of the milk coming into it. And so you could see like, okay, I've already pumped 3 ounces. I probably might have a little bit more to go. Or you could see like the milk was slowing down as it was coming into it. So it was like, okay, I'm probably done. But for this, you can't see it at all. So once I pulled up my shirt and like popped it off and like looked to see and then popped it back on, like I would just kind of have to time the pumping in my head or set a timer. Be like, okay, it was about 10 minutes. I should probably be done. But I felt like I never knew exactly when I was done or not. So it was just kind of like this guessing game. So I didn't like the lost visibility to like what was going on in regards to pumping or not. Maybe that's important or not important to you, but for me, like I wanted to make sure that I was like empty as I was pumping. And sometimes I feel like I just kept them on for a lot longer than I necessarily needed to, just because I wasn't sure if they were done. Now there's a light that comes on when the milk is full in the little compartment that I showed you where the milk goes. There's a light that comes on, so the pump would stop and the light would come on. But for me, because I had so much milk, I had to change them out anyways. And so I was still like guessing if it was truly done. I would have to switch it out, put a new one on, which was nice. I should add that to the pro list. Like it came with extra. I'm just gonna take this out. It came with extra. Ooh, milk just came out. I'm supposed to be done, but there's actually milk still in there. But it came with extra these, and so like if this was full, I could easily just like pop another one on and pop it back in. But like I said, I didn't ever exactly know when I was done. I would kind of have to just like wait and be like, okay, I think I'm done, and then take it out. Versus like being able to have something like this in view to know like, okay, I don't see any milk going into there anymore. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a downfall for me. Another downfall was the other pump that I was using. You could actually, it had like a timer on it, so you could look at the screen and be like, okay, I've been pumping for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever setting was on. With this, maybe, no, I don't think there was. Like, I didn't know. So it was always just like a guessing game, which as a mom with a newborn and nursing mom, it's like every moment counts. You don't want to be tied up doing anything longer than you need to. So that was an inconvenience for me. The other thing was, so I didn't love the way you had to pour the milk out of here. So like once this was full with milk, you could take this off and there's like a little lip here and you could pour it. But when I was pouring it into the nursing bags, I feel like it would like spill out sometimes. Or you could take this whole thing off, but you can see like it's a pretty big opening. So like to pour it into a bag to freeze the milk, it just got kind of messy sometimes. And sometimes too, because of like the shape of this, I feel like there would be more milk in here. So I was like trying to get it out, but it wouldn't necessarily come out. And if you have nursed before, breast milk is like liquid gold. So for me to sit there and see this extra milk still sitting in here, and I could either fight with it to try to get it out or leave it alone, that was a little bit annoying. Maybe it was just me, but that was a little bit of annoying. So because this wasn't shaped like a cylinder, like my other pump, I could just pour it in just like you're pouring like a beverage, or you're pouring, something that's, I don't know. It was just easier to pour right into the milk bags and stick it in the freezer. This, I feel like I would spill it, and then I got into kind of a rhythm, but it still was never like as easy as kind of the other cylinders. So that was a downfall for me. And then another thing is, I feel like as more time passed, sometimes the suction, like I feel like I had to start to kind of like really maneuver it a bit to make sure it was like all the pieces were on just right in order to make sure it was actually working. So I don't know if that was like a user error or not, but sometimes I could see like the silicone would be like smashed on the side, or whatever this green material is on this part. Once I would connect it, it would kind of be like smashed. So I had to like adjust it and try it again and get it just right. I just noticed it took a little bit more effort versus, normal. So overall, I liked it. If you're on the go, if you got to get up and move, if you got to take care of other children and things like that, I would say this is definitely a handy pump. And potentially you might want to consider using this along with another pump. Potentially, but then that could become a lot as well. So I liked it. I think that these are fairly new. I don't know how long. There's another one, I think Willow, that's out as well. I don't know how long these type of pumps have been out on the market. I'm sure they'll probably enhance it and improve it in the future. But for me, those were some of the things that I didn't love about it. But it definitely helped me get through my, I feel like I look crazy because I have like one in and one out. So I'm just going to put this one back in. It helped me along on my breastfeeding journey. So that's my perspective on the Elvie. I think if you're like really dedicated to nursing and all of that, I think it definitely pays for itself and is helpful. So I feel like I said a mouthful. I could share a lot more about breastfeeding overall, but I'm not. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you for sticking with us. Please like, subscribe, and follow us, because I don't know exactly what the future holds. And as we're going to continue to post and things like that. But if you subscribe, you'll know when we have new episodes up, and you can follow us on our social media, and all of that is going to be linked below. So that's it for now. Thank you so much.